Welcome to Fancounters. My name's Nick.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And tonight is a big night for us. Well, more for your daughter, but for me too. You have been initiated into the Irish dance world.
Yes.
And I get to experience it tonight.
Yes, we've joined a cult.
Don't say that.
My gosh. It is. I have to tell you this. So we have just wrapped up the Super Bowl of Irish dance, which is, of course, St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
So we did a marathon of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this past weekend of nothing but dance. And the first day on Friday, we actually rented a party bus because the team has about 40 kids on it, but there were only 40 people on the bus, so there was about half of the kids with their parents, which was great as we went from place to place to place until the bus broke down.
No.
And we were super late for one of the middle schools. Like they were all in assembly as we came bolting in to do this. But I have to tell you, my daughter Lily is 8, and I think halfway through the day, even after she was exhausted and her feet hurt, she looked at me and said, "Isn't this fun, Mom?"
Aww.
And I was like, sure. Thinking, we still have 2 more days of this. Let's ask her tomorrow. And so then on Saturday, I drove us to the places because it was Bar-O-Rama on Saturday, which was St. Patrick's Day.
Wait, now how many shows are you doing? Like Friday, how many did you
So
do?
on Friday, we only did 5.
That's a lot.
Well, there were
different
some
places.
Yeah, and there were some places that did 6 or 7. Tonight is our last show for the season. But on Saturday, I mean, that poor child, it was nothing but drunk people in bars. And we started at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And we finished up at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And some of those people, these were 3 different bars we went to on Saturday. And some of these people were quite overserved by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And so I couldn't believe it, though. These bars are packed with people. These girls are wearing black dresses, and they're hotter than Hades. They have, large hair.
Yeah.
And
fake hair, right?
What?
Is it all fake hair, right?
We're not allowed to say.
Oh, she's winking at me. It's fake hair. Guys, it's fake hair. Go ahead.
And so even on Saturday, she was so exhausted, but she said to me, "I'm having so much fun." I said, "That's fantastic." But by Saturday night, we had taken her shoes off, which they're like ballet slippers. They're called gillies. And the shoelaces had literally made indentations into her feet.
Whoa.
And so we had to, for the first time, put her feet in Epsom salt. And she was like, "I don't like this. It's freezing cold." And Dad, of course, was like, "It's got to be cold. We've got to get your feet from unswelling." And by Sunday, she was feeling better, and we were ready to do the Sunday show. And she did a just remarkable job. I couldn't be more pleased. I mean, that's a lot of trucking around for an 8-year-old. And she smiled through it all and had a fantastic time. So I'm excited because tonight will be the first time that friends and family will get to actually see her. I've videotaped it. It's on our Facebook page.
Right.
But this will be the first time that her grandparents will come. And, of course, you're going to come with the girls. And my husband and my son, who have, again, only really seen her on Facebook because they just do not want any part of this trekking around all day long, nor do I want them along. It was super, super fun. I can't be more pleased with how happy she is and how excited she is to keep dancing.
Good. Yeah, we're excited. My girls love dance. They love watching dance. When I film shows and stuff, they're like, "Oh, put this part on." And so I think they're going to love it. So I'm looking forward to coming tonight to support Lily and be there and hang out with you guys. Anyway, let's get to our show this week. We have an amazing actress on a show called School of Rock on Nickelodeon. As you already see from when you tapped on this episode, Jade Pettyjohn is going to join us. She plays Summer on the Nickelodeon show School of Rock. She grew up in the right city, though. Born and raised in Los Angeles, she started her professional career at age 7, and a decade later, her career really is on fire.
In addition to her hit TV shows, she's been cast in 2 upcoming films: Destroyer with Nicole Kidman and Trial by Fire, where she plays the daughter of Laura Dern. In addition to guest starring on over a dozen TV shows, she was a presenter in the 2017 Nickelodeon Kid Choice Awards.
Now, today we've got some serious questions for her. We've got some fun ones. And at the end, there's a little treat for you. She's going to do the alphabet backwards. And there's a little surprise because somebody else I know, I just found out, can do it too.
I can, yes.
You're going to do it for us, right?
We'll see.
Okay. Well, we're going to find out Here's Jade Pettyjohn.
Coming to you from nowhere near the entertainment capital of the world, this is Fancounters, the podcast.
You're amazing. You need to come to Hollywood. I'm going to make you famous.
There was this mob of people, and they're screaming my name.
Crazy fans.
Stop following me. Don't come around my house. If you do, the cops are going to be at yours.
I think this guy wants to fight me. Ended up being a fan.
There's just like security guards with like M16 holding like fans back.
Are you kidding me?
I continually will get stopped.
Can I take a picture? We're gonna. Oh my God.
I definitely declined signing body parts.
Oh, I don't want to go there.
I'm the only one that's ever spit on Sam Jackson and lived to tell about it.
That's why we call it Fancounters.
I don't think you're going to last on the air very long.
Jade, welcome to Fancounters. We're really excited to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Now, you are on the School of Rock, as we mentioned in our opening, and I have been a fan of that since I saw the Jack Black film. I've also seen the Broadway musical once. I'm going to see it again next month. When did you first see School of Rock?
I actually can't remember the first time I watched the film. It's definitely been a huge part of my childhood. I've been watching it since I could remember. So getting the audition for this and being able to be a part of the show is a big deal for me. So yeah, I definitely grew up with the film.
So prior to starring in School of Rock, you were cast in several movies and shows, and we're going to get to some of those. But can you tell us about the audition process that you went through to get cast as Summer?
Yeah, absolutely. So the audition process was very long, actually. I auditioned probably about 7 or 8 times.
Wow.
Yeah, so the first auditions, it was just me, and then they would get a bunch of different actors that were auditioning for other roles, and they would put us in a room, and we just kind of would go crazy and work with different Tamikas and Summers and Freddies and all of that. And then we had the final audition at the end, which, you know, they would pull in different groups of people, and we would audition in front of this huge, long table with fancy executives and stuff like that. So it was definitely a lot of auditions, which was really fun. And for me, it was a little bit crazy of a balancing act because during this time I was also in the middle of filming a movie, Girl Flu, back in 2014. Mm-hmm. So I would go from one set and then like book it across the city and go to the audition. But yeah, it was really great.
There's a video on YouTube that supposedly shows this audition footage. And
Yes.
I'm assuming that was the final audition when you were kind of like in your zone. And we hear a lot of laughter in the room. Did you notice that there was going on, or were you so involved with the scene that you didn't? And did you already like feel like you had the part?
These are great questions. So I would, in an ideal world, I'd like to say that I was not paying attention to the laughter at all, and I was in it and stuff like that. And I was definitely in it. I was definitely present. But, you know, it's the final audition for this, and it's super exciting. And what they don't show in the video is our viewpoint, which is this long table with fancy Nickelodeon executives watching us. And, you know, it was very intimidating. So when I did hear a laugh, I would, in my head, kind of have a little bit of a happy dance going on. But I would try as much as I could to be present with the other actors as well. And when we were filming, they would start laughing more when we were actually in the series, and it kind of just became a part of the work. So I definitely blocked it out once we started filming. But for that final audition, I was like very aware that they were laughing, and that was good. And I wasn't sure if I had got it or not. But I did know that the people that I was auditioning with that ended up being the cast, it felt very right, and it was like, you know what, if this is going to happen, I feel like it's going to be with us, which was really cool.
Have they already cast the part of Dewey already?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
So Tony was already cast before any of us had auditioned, which was really great. So we were really working with him and kind of finding the chemistry between the kids and Dewey. And I couldn't imagine anyone else playing Mr. Finn. Tony is amazing, and he also looks freakishly like Jack Black to me. So.
Yeah. Now, was there somebody from the original audition part? Because you kind of said in other interviews that you sort of knew who was going to get those parts. Was there somebody, though, that didn't get a role that might have surprised you?
Honestly, not really. I think the one thing was there was one girl auditioning for Summer who looked freakishly like Miranda Cosgrove. So I was like, it's maybe me or her. But No, it felt very right. Bree was definitely our Tamika. Ricardo was definitely Freddie, and same with Aiden and Lance. They felt like the characters, and it felt so right that I wasn't surprised at all when I found out who had booked the other parts.
In School of Rock, you did an episode called Puppy Love, where they brought in over 20 dogs on the set.
Mm-hmm.
Were there a lot of accidents involved with that? Or were these all professional dogs? And did your dog Pork Chop make an appearance?
Okay. Well, these are very professional dogs. Some of these dogs were like the dogs in Modern Family and all of that. But there were a lot of pugs, baby pugs. And there's this scene where they're chasing Tamika like down the corridors or down the hallways. And they have to go up these stairs. And the one thing we ran into is we had to do it many, many times because the pugs were so small that they couldn't get up the stairs. It was the cutest thing. But for the most part, they were actually very professional. So they were great. And Chops, he couldn't make it. He had an afternoon nap to attend to.
Oh, yeah. Very busy.
But I'm sure he would have loved it.
Now, for most teenagers, their look and physical appearance is kind of the most important thing. Image is everything, right? So sometimes the wardrobe department, we've noticed when watching, especially some of these Nickelodeon shows, they can be pretty mean to the cast members, meaning not intentionally, of course, but some of the things that they put you in could be quite ridiculous. Have you ever been put in something where you've been embarrassed even to walk out on the set and be like, yeah, this is my costume today?
It's kind of an interesting thing. I think it's really important to understand that Summer and I are very different people. We have a lot of similarities, but style is not one of them. So we're definitely when it comes to style, it's definitely a character. And, I think that Allison Freer, who is our costume designer, did an amazing job with all of the costumes. And I never felt embarrassed walking through. If it wasn't my style, I felt like it was very much Summer's. And there were some things that were, it's definitely not in my wardrobe. There was an episode where Summer wears this vest made out of trail mix, and she has these shoes made out of banana leaves. You know what I mean? And they're definitely weird, definitely not part of my wardrobe, but it just was so fitting for the story, and they did such a great job, and they worked so hard on it that I never felt embarrassed. I just felt like I was telling a story, and a lot of that comes through with the clothes. So. Any
of the other kids have that happen to them where they're like, oh, I cannot believe that they're making me wear this?
I don't think so. I mean, there are some outfits that we had that were very costumey, that were uncomfortable.
Okay.
So we would kind of be uncomfortable in different ways. There was some where we had these amazing light up jumpsuits when we played the homecoming or the dance at our school in season 2, and it was amazing. But we had these battery packs and zip ties on our legs underneath everything, and we had to dance. That was super uncomfortable, but the outfits were actually pretty cool.
Now, have you actually seen the Broadway production of School of Rock?
I haven't gotten a chance to see it, but I know that they're coming to LA. They're going to the Pantages, which is amazing. So I'm going to try and get tickets to see that.
You so should. Rob Coletti, who plays Dewey, it's funny because once you see Jack Black, you're like, oh, no one else can do the role. Yeah. Then I saw Rob Coletti do the on-stage role, and I thought, oh, when I go again next month, if he's not playing Dewey that night, I'm going to be majorly disappointed because he's so good. And then
I've seen videos, and it's amazing.
Then you watch your show, and I forget, you said Tony was his name? I mean, he's excellent. He's an excellent Dewey as well. So, but you almost can't see anybody else playing that role.
Exactly, yeah.
Except the 3 people that do.
Right.
So do you guys, in the stage show, they say in advance, these kids are playing the music. It's part of their requirement. In fact, there's a theater company locally that's going to do School of Rock this year. And when they're auditioning kids, they're like, you have to know how to play instruments. Is that the same requirement for the TV show, that you guys who are cast in the musical roles know how to play instruments?
Yeah, we definitely have to play. We do play everything. So we would shoot all week, and Saturdays were our band practice and recording. So we would record the music, we would have our band practice, and then throughout the week we would kind of jam with each other and practice all of the songs. I think it's a very hard thing to fake playing music on television, especially like drummers and stuff, but also guitarists as well. It's very apparent when people don't know how to play, at least in my opinion. So they were very adamant that we learned how to play, and we had amazing teachers as well, and amazing musicians. I mean, Bree is amazing, Ricardo, Lance, Aiden, they're all amazing. So we all learned how to play.
I was going to ask one more thing about that. So you play guitar. Do you play anything else?
Personally, I play guitar, I sing, I play piano. I'm learning drums right now, and I play a little bit of bass.
Okay, so you
and a little bit of cello, but it's been a while.
Okay. When you're recording the music, you get all that set. Are you then, I assume you're lip syncing on set?
Yeah, we already record the music before we start shooting. So when we start shooting, we all get earwigs, like the little tiny things put in, or they'll play it everywhere, and we just play along to the track we've already recorded to.
How weird is that for you?
We've been doing it for 3 years, so I've gotten used to it. But the first few times was, it was definitely interesting. It was a weird thing to lip sync and play over a track and make it look real. And it's a little bit weird, but you get used to it after a while and you kind of feel it out. And we have amazing sound mixers and everything, so they do a great job with us.
We have a lot of young listeners, and some of them are aspiring actors and actresses, and they love to hear like your journey, but they also like to hear what a typical day looks like for you. What is a normal day for you? One of the things that I love about the way that I live my life is there isn't a normal day for me. It's definitely, it's different all the time. And when I'm working, my day is usually filled with being on set and all of that. But I think it's very important for not just actors, but anyone in life to keep it balanced. I'll be working very, very hard, and then I realize that, I have to carve out time with my friends to just invite them over for dinner and just talk with them, or go out to the movies and, be a teenage girl. And I want to read. I love reading. So I spend time, just reading books and all of that. It's very, very important. So when I'm working, I'm on set all day usually. And when I'm not, I'm working on other things and I'm hanging out with friends. And, it's definitely a balancing act. But yeah, that's how I live it. And you still live at home, correct? So you have your family with you?
I do. I'm 17, so I still live with my family, and I really enjoy my family, so I'm not really anxious to move out.
Do you have siblings?
I don't think my dog counts as a sibling, although he does feel like a brother sometimes.
Well, I read something funny, Elizabeth. And you've said before, you're actually like the only kid in your whole entire family. You have like no cousins and stuff, right?
Yeah, I have no cousins. Well, I have second or third cousins, but they live like halfway across the country, and I haven't seen them since I was like 6, I think.
Wow, that's remarkable.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's just a little odd,
Yeah, I've definitely been I am the baby of the family.
You're it, man.
I'm it.
Now, you guys don't film in front of a live studio audience, do you?
No, we don't. We would shoot at the Paramount lot, Stage 18, which was very fun, but we did not have a live audience. Yeah.
Okay, because I would imagine performing in front of one has to be a little different because it's halfway between a stage play and a TV show. But, I've seen sitcoms be filmed. And
with the performance, we have the next couple episodes it's the season finale or series finale. So it's like a 2-parter episode, and we have the biggest performance we've ever done. And when shooting that, we have 300 or 400 extras watching us, and we were on the back lot of Paramount. So it was like outside, and it was like the music was blaring with this amazing song that we got to cover. And it really felt like we were playing, like we were at a concert and we were performing, and it was amazing because we had 300 or 400 extras watching us, which is crazy. So we have an audience in that way, but they're paid for it. So
right, they're paid to love you.
Yeah, they're paid to be here.
Paid to love us.
Yeah.
Do you sing at other venues promoting your music?
It's definitely been a while. I love music, and music is definitely something that's always been with me. But right now I've got a lot of exciting projects happening. So I've been focusing on film and television. But it's been a while, but I used to love going to random little open mics and just performing and not telling anyone that I'm performing. And I would also street perform down in the subways of LA.
Oh, wow.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. So I was kind of a busker, and I would just bring my guitar and just play, which is so much fun. I got to do that again because it's terrifying, but it's really fun.
Do you go to regular school?
I did, but I actually
Okay.
graduated.
Okay.
Yeah, which is very exciting. I graduated like 2.5 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting transition of like not having to be at school all day. But yeah, I was never homeschooled. I never did online school. I wanted to have a somewhat close to a high school experience, you know? So I went to a normal high school, and it was great.
Are you going back for prom this year?
Funny enough, my school doesn't have prom. Which is, I know.
Elizabeth just
snapped my head really fast. Like, what goes on there?
I know, my school, it was a bit of a small school, and they don't have prom. So I have a couple of friends that do have prom, and I might go to a couple other people's proms, but my school never had prom, which I found crazy, but yeah.
I find that crazy too.
It is crazy.
It's like a rite of passage.
I'm going to prom this year. I'm going to a prom, I swear.
Good. Yeah, you're right. Rite of passage.
It is. It's a rite of passage. You have to go.
Yeah.
Now, the other question I had about school is the reaction from other kids. Now, are there other actors and actresses going to your school so it's not a big deal, or are you like an anomaly where you're like, ooh, look at it, she's on TV, and how's that go for you?
I am basically the only actor. There's one other actor, but she's in the lower grades, and so I didn't have any classes with her. She's a lot younger. So I was definitely like the only one in this world, but I grew up with these kids. You know, I had gone to this school for a very long time, and I grew up with them. And so what was nice about it was, you know, I've been acting for this year, it'll be 11 years. So I've always been doing it in some kind of way. And the way that my friends and the way that the people at the school have treated me, fortunately, has always been like, oh yeah, that's just the thing she does. Just like my friend Tess is a soccer player, and she goes and does, you know, soccer games and stuff like that. So they never treated me any differently at my school, which was really nice. And my friends never changed or anything like that. They were just like, yeah, she's just, you know, she just does that. I think the strangest thing was when I was filming, I would be away from the school like 6 months out of the year, and then I'd come back, and you know, it's high school, so everything changes really quickly. Yeah. It's like who's dating who, and where's the drama, and what's going on, and who are we talking to, and all of that. But they never treated me any differently for what I do, which I really, really appreciate.
We've heard that a couple of times, actually, from younger stars that we've interviewed. And I think it's not surprising to us to hear that anymore, but I think to your fans who haven't heard that, I don't think they can understand that. Like, oh my God, if Jade was at my school, I would be going crazy. And, you know, but for you and your friends, it's just the way it's always been.
It's the way it's always been. And I'm really happy that I found a really great group of people that treat me just who I am. And that's the thing, too. If you meet me, I'm a normal teenage girl too, you know. I mean, I do what I love, and that's amazing. But I also have crushes on boys and don't know what to do, and I fall and I'm embarrassed, and I brush my teeth in the morning, and you know, it's like I'm a normal person, and it's very apparent when you meet me that I'm also just a teenage girl. So yeah.
Now on YouTube, she does a lot of Q&As. So fans have to be really important to you, I assume. Yes. Have you come across any fans who have had an interaction with you that have stuck with you for one reason or another?
There's been a few. I think one of them that just meant a lot to me was actually a really long time ago. It was kind of my first fan experience. I went to the Olympic trials in San Jose in 2012, and I did like this meet and greet autograph signing thing, because I did a film called McKenna Shoots for the Stars that was gymnastics based, and so we were kind of on a press tour thing for that, and so I was doing like a meet and greet, and there was a little girl who came and she was dressed in the doll's clothing with her doll. And she came up and she gave me a piece of fan art. And it was the first time I ever had a piece of fan art. And she said that when she watched that movie, inspired her to be a gymnast and that she wants to go to the Olympics. And that meant a lot to me, that I had affected someone in that kind of way and that I inspired them. And she's beautiful and so sweet. And yeah, so that made my heart really happy. And that was my first experience with fans as well. So I definitely want to continue to do that and continue to inspire people, hopefully,
Well, the name of our show is called Fancounters. So
Yes.
we also, and we loved that story, but we also like to hear those crazy, weird ones that you're kind of like, I don't know who that creepy person was, but that's just got to go. So do you have any of those just kind of bizarres that makes you walk away, go, I don't know what that was? Or
I haven't had a lot, thankfully, I think. But there was one that confused me a bit. I was working with LA Mission a few months ago, and I was feeding food to the homeless. And so we were in downtown LA doing this, and we were, passing out food at Skid Row and stuff. And there was like a barrier or kind of like a gate, so that people wouldn't just randomly come up to us. We would hand them out to them. And there was these like fans that were, I think they were fans, but they were a lot older than me. They were like in their 30s or 40s. And they mention me and they tell me to come over, and they pull out of their backpack like dozens and dozens and dozens of my pictures of my face and tell me to sign all of them. But there's probably like 50 photos in there, and they're all really random photos. There's some from when I was a little girl, and I was like, that's weird that you have my childhood photos, and then some were headshots. But they did not seem like fans of mine because they were, 40 or so, and I don't know if they were trying to sell them or something, but that was probably the weirdest thing for me, as I was like passing out food to the homeless, and they're like, sign your face for me, please.
Did you do it?
I signed one of them, and then I was like, I gotta go. You get one.
Well, and that's
I didn't want to say no.
Because that is creepy. Those people had to have been selling that online. Yeah, they had to have been selling it online.
Yeah, I hope they were selling it online, and it wasn't just like 50 photos of me for themselves.
Yeah, and all of it's creepy. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
What's the strangest thing a fan has ever given you?
All the things that I've received from fans have always been really sweet. I had a little boy, he was probably 7 or 8. He sent me, this isn't strange, but I think it's really cute. He sent me a bunch of rings from Claire's or something like that, and he wanted me to be his girlfriend, and so he sent me all these rings. That was really cute. I've had fans give me chocolates before, but I haven't had anything super strange, which is nice.
That's cool. We like hearing about those stories.
Okay, but I want to know, do you eat the chocolates or do you just pass them on?
I ate these chocolates because they were packaged. It was like, it was just Hershey's Kisses, like in a bag. So I was like, yeah, that's great.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker for chocolate, so.
Now, you're really active on your Twitter page. We read through some of your posts, and 2 words kind of came to mind when we were browsing your feed. We think you're pretty normal, very grounded, I think, in a good way.
Thank you.
So one of the things I want to read, because I think that we're in a moment in America where more people need to understand that, like, teenagers really get what's going on. And this, for me, made me think that for sure. So you wrote, I think taking care of yourself and others and succeeding at that is the truest form of rebellion. Talk a little bit about what your opinion of what is happening in the world today, and what we should be doing is making it a better place instead of ripping people down.
That's a great question, and I'm always still figuring that out for myself and trying to be as responsible as I can on how to make it a better place. But I think, especially for young people, I think it's really important to inform yourself on what's happening and look at both sides and really look at what's happening in the world. And if you have a viewpoint, or if you have an idea on how to change something, you got to figure out how to do it. You know what I mean? And your voice is important. And especially with social media now, when done in the right way, you can post something and you could say your viewpoint on something, and it can reach hundreds of thousands of people at a very, very short amount of time. And I think it's a very exciting moment. And I think there's a lot of stuff happening in the world right now that is very, very upsetting. But I do think that we are moving in a better direction. I do think I have a lot of hope right now. I think that with social media and with everything, I think that this generation is more connected than any other generation in the past. And I think that because we're interested and because we're not taking any BS, we're not allowing anything that isn't okay. We're seeking justice, and we're seeking equality. And the fact that there's people that are so young that are interested in that and so passionate about that, it just gives me hope. So I think that, anyone who's trying to help, just inform yourself on what's happening. And then the little things help as well. Just being kind to someone, that really goes a really long way. It creates this ricochet effect.
I think you speak for what a lot of kids are thinking.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope so. And I'm very fortunate to have a platform where a lot of people can hear me, and I want to, hold on to that and take that very seriously, because, I want to help people.
Yeah, and we don't all have to agree on every little thing, but we should
Exactly.
respect both sides.
But the fact that you're able to listen to one another, I think keeping an open mind, and it's totally okay to disagree. I disagree with so many things, but being able to keep an open mind and being able to listen to one another, as opposed to being like, I am right and there's nothing else to see about it. I think that's a really beautiful thing to be open-minded. You know what I mean? And it's okay to disagree. It's okay to have different viewpoints.
So in January, you wrapped up a crime thriller film called Destroyer with Nicole Kidman. Destroyer is about a police detective who reconnects with people from an undercover assignment in order to make peace. So tell us a little bit about your role in that film. I believe your character's name is Shelby?
Yes, my character's name is Shelby. I don't know how much I'm allowed to tell you about it.
Yeah, don't get in trouble.
Yeah, don't.
She is, I think I can say this. I'm playing Nicole Kidman's daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, that I got from the IMDb page, because your last names are the same. So
yeah,
I think you're safe there.
Okay, good. I'm glad that I didn't.
No.
Okay, so I am playing her daughter, and I can say that Shelby is very, very, very different, and she's got a lot of layers, and she's very complicated, and I think I look pretty much unrecognizable as well. So it's definitely a very, very different side of anything anyone's ever seen me done, especially people who've watched School of Rock. It's polar opposite. But yeah, it's an amazing story, and I think that people are gonna be very interested to see it, which I'm excited about.
Is this a theatrical release that's coming up?
I believe so.
Okay. And you say unrecognizable. We can leave it there, or are we talking like hair, costume? I mean, did things change that you had to change back, or Well,
people will see that it's me, but I'm not made up. It's very, very raw, and they make me look. It's not just raw, like no makeup, but they put makeup on me to look more degraded and grittier. I think so, and especially just adding the makeup and hair elements of that, and the wardrobe. Plus like actually just performing and putting on a completely different face in that way, and emitting this other energy that people haven't seen from me. It's very different. I'd look at myself in the mirror when we were shooting. I'm like, wow, this is definitely not me. And I'd get so excited. I think Nicole Kidman is definitely more unrecognizable in it, though. There's a couple photos online of her, and it's amazing. The hair and makeup department did such a great job with her. She's gorgeous. Like it's Nicole Kidman. She's beautiful. And she had these prosthetic teeth, and her face was wrinkly when it's not. And like, it was, she had sun damage, and, so all of us are very gritty looking.
Awesome. Now, Nicole Kidman, what was it like working with her? Were you nervous meeting her?
It's definitely hard. I've looked up to her for a very, very long time. She's been a huge role model of mine, and I think she's a fantastic actress. So the first day, all of my scenes are with her, but the first day was a particularly intense scene to shoot for the first day. And I was like, I'm a little nervous just to do this scene. But I was doing it with Nicole Kidman, and I wasn't starstruck or those aren't the right words for it, but I was really excited. I was like so excited that I actually was at the point that I get to work with these people that I've looked up to for such a long time. And when I met her, she was everything and more. She's so kind and so sweet, but something that made me so happy was watching her in her element. She's so passionate about what she does. She's so brilliant, and she's just an amazing person to observe and learn from, just watching her perform and watching her create. So that was so great. I feel very connected to Nicole. So yeah, I loved working with her.
Do you watch This Is Us?
I do.
So it's the same probably thing when Kevin was working with Sly Stallone.
Yeah.
That whole relationship,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm picturing here. Okay, so Trial by Fire. Let's talk about that one. It's another movie that you've got coming out this year that you had a role in. Now, this one's based on a true story. It's a guy who was convicted of triple homicide in the arson death of his 3 children. So the man meets a woman who fights for his freedom based on the fact that maybe he was wrongly convicted. My question with this movie role is, this is one that was based on a true story. So is your preparation different for a film that's based on something that actually happened rather than something that's not?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of elements as far as preparation goes that you would have to, that's different from just telling a story that you can kind of make up. You want to do the story justice. And so I had definitely done my research, and I had learned a lot about the case. And Laura Dern, who plays Elizabeth, was in contact with the real Elizabeth Gilbert. And so, the real Elizabeth would talk about it, and she was in contact with Laura and Ed and stuff. And so Ed, Laura, Noah, and I would all sit in a room, and we would read these emails and these texts and learn and have phone calls, and we would learn about what the family life was like, because for me, that's what I was interested in, because that's what I was playing. So, how my character Julie was dealing with this case and everything, it's a very specific situation. It's not something that everyone goes through. So I did a lot of research on that, and I did a lot of research of the time period as well, because it's 90s to 2000s as a teenager, which that is a little early for me. So I did a little bit of research as well as what she would be into in Texas specifically. Like, Texas in the 90s is a very different thing. So yeah, I did a lot of research, and the preparation was definitely different from what I would usually do. But it was amazing.
So can you tell us what this role is, like who you play in here?
Right. It's sort of the same thing, I think, as Destroyer, but I can tell you that I play the daughter of Laura's character, Elizabeth, who's helping.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Todd Willingham was falsely accused of an arson fire in which his 3 children had passed away in. And Laura's character, Elizabeth, starts having contact with him while he's, in jail, or on death row. And she starts looking at these, things, and starts realizing that he might not be guilty. And so starts fighting for his freedom and is hoping that he won't die. And, my character is the daughter has a lot happening to her. Her father had passed away, and Elizabeth is her only, person, but she's also working on this case. And then there's a lot of other things that happen that I'm not allowed to talk about.
You're
but,
right.
She's in a very, very specific situation, and, it's something that is very hard. It's a very hard way to kind of go through your, senior year of high school, and all of this stuff is happening, and all of the it's Texas in the 90s and people were talking and being treated differently for what our mother was doing, and all of that is very, very specific. So
cool. Do you know, is that a theatrical release? I keep asking you that, but because it's not clear online if these are coming to theaters or if they're Redbox ones or what.
No, I don't think it's right. I believe it's going to theaters. You don't have to quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure both of them are theatrical releases.
Well, let's talk about some old news a little bit, because some fans never get enough of the stuff that they first found you in. So 2012, you did a movie with a pretty awesome souvenir attached to it. And I'm talking about the American Girl movie, which you mentioned before. McKenna Shoots for the Stars, about a gymnast that overcomes some challenges to believe in herself. So the executive producer of the movie, Deborah Martin Chase, called it early when she said in an interview that you have a major career ahead of you, which is, that came true. So I'm glad she had some foreshadowing there. What was the audition like for that? Did you have to prove your athletic ability to get the role?
For the audition for that, everything was a secret. They were very, very confidential about it. So they had created a fake script with different names and different plot lines. So I thought it was dancing.
Okay.
I thought I had to be a dancer. So I come in and I'm all like balletted out or whatever. And I auditioned 2 or 3 times, I think. And, it was great. And I remember the final audition, I just had a feeling that I had to work on my like gymnastics ability. I don't know where that came from. And I'm not a gymnast, so I would practice my cartwheels in the front yard before we went to the audition. And I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I just feel like I should. And so I go to the audition and they tell me to put my hair down because it was in this bun. And they were like, that's it. She's got the hair. And then they told me to do a couple dance moves and stuff like that. And then they cast me. And then I found out on the plane ride over to Canada that it was gymnastics, which was...
You didn't find out what the sport was until you were on your way to film it?
My mom might have told me beforehand, but I think I remember finding out, like, we're going to train 4 weeks in advance in Canada with the Junior Olympic team. But I don't think I realized that it was gymnastics until the plane ride over. I remember my mom saying, like, oh, it's gymnastics. I was like, what? And we were, like, already... like in the plane, like on the plane. So yeah, but I found out eventually. So
what is it like working with Kathy Rigby? She's actually one of my favorite gymnasts. And and so you got to work with her in this movie.
Yeah, I did. Kathy Rigby is on another level, man. She's amazing. Oh my God. And she was so kind and she was so motherly. And I, again, had no gymnastics ability. I could do a cartwheel, sort of, and that was about it. So I had a lot of training to do. And when we were working together, she would give me these little gymnastics lessons. And I was freaking out because it's Kathy Rigby. And, she would tell these stories. And she was definitely like a mother figure on set, which was really amazing. And, she's so kind. And she gave us tickets to see her play Peter Pan, which was amazing. And she's just got a lot of spark in her and a lot of energy and a lot of light. And she's just so caring. It was such a great experience to work with her.
The American Girl doll was based on your likeness at the time. So how many of these dolls do you own?
I don't anymore.
Really?
I don't have any anymore. They gave me one. Okay. And then I got another one, and I donated both to these charity auctions. And so I had one, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. I have my own doll, and I had it for about 6 months, and I was like, the first one I had actually given to my god sister, because she was really into the American Girl dolls and stuff like that. But she couldn't buy one for herself, and so I had given her the McKenna doll, and she freaked out. And then the other one, I gotten another one from some press tour thing. Someone had given it to me, and then I had gotten a couple of the other castmates to sign it, and then I had donated it. So
very nice. Okay, well, they went to a good cause then.
They did. They went to a good cause.
So you've had the opportunity to guest star in a lot of shows. Nikki, Ricky, Dickie, and Dawn, Pure Genius, Henry Danger, many more. What I'm wondering is, what's it like to come on as a guest star onto a set with a core actors that are working together every single day? Like, do you feel immediately welcomed, or is it that feeling like, oh, there's a lot of jokes being told around here that I don't get? Where do you fall when you guest star on a show?
Yeah, I mean, each project is very different, but I have been very fortunate to have worked with people that are very welcoming and very, they greet you with open arms, which is very nice. But everyone is in their groove, and they have a certain way of doing things, and you kind of have to work with them and kind of just be flexible on what people do and what people don't do. But I've been very fortunate with everyone that I've worked with. They've been very open and very welcoming, which is really nice. So I haven't had a problem with being like the outsider. She's just that guest star and doesn't know what's going on, Yeah, I've worked with some really amazing people, and they were very welcoming.
Last year, you got to be a presenter on the Kids' Choice Awards.
Yes.
So what is that like? That's a completely fan-based award show. So what's it like to be there?
Yeah, it is very, very exciting and energetic and loud and slimy.
Did you get slimed?
I did not get slimed at the Kids' Choice Awards, but I have been slimed.
Okay.
I can't be like part of the Nickelodeon family without her being slimed. That just doesn't work. So yes, but the Kids' Choice Awards is very, very energetic and lively, and it's really fun to kind of interact with the fans that are really, really excited, and the crazy music and John Cena and everyone getting slimed. It's like this really great energy there. And presenting was amazing. It was so much fun.
Let's get behind the scenes of the sliming. I'm interested. Is it cold? Does it take forever to get out of your hair? What are we talking here?
Okay, so there's 3. They're all secret formulas, so no one's allowed to know what slime is actually made of.
Okay.
But there's three kinds of slime. There's some that you can eat. There's some that you cannot eat. And then there's another kind. The one that I had, I've been slimed twice. Both of them are very, very cold. They're very soft, though. That was the thing, is like, it's hard to get out of your hair. It's hard to get off of your body and stuff. But it's like a really good conditioner. Honestly, they should make some slime hair products, because it's so soft, and it made my skin so soft. Also slightly green, but that's okay. Yeah, and so that, and also the first time I got slimed, it actually smelled really good. The second time, not so much, but the first one, they had a different formula, and it smelled like vanilla-y, which was nice.
Maybe that was the edible one.
Maybe that was the edible one, yeah.
That's
funny. Sliming is very fun.
Not many people can go around saying that I've been slimed twice.
Right.
So, or even once.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
So we talked really briefly about being starstruck, and you said you're maybe not that kind of person. I mean, if you don't get starstruck around Nicole Kidman, come on here, But have you ever been starstruck?
Oh, okay. So I have been starstruck. So I've been starstruck twice. Like, actually starstruck twice.
Okay.
One was when I was on my way to start filming American Girl. On the plane, I saw the Target dog with the little red thing. Yeah, it was amazing. It was the best day of my life.
Did you get a picture with the Target dog?
I got a picture with the Target dog.
Is it on your Instagram?
Yeah. Oh, it's not on my Instagram. I should post it as like a throwback or something. But it's amazing. He had his own seat in first class. Like I don't even know. Anyways, so that was one. And then the other one was actually really recently. I am a huge fan of The Office, like huge fan. I have a keychain on my car keys of Dwight and Michael, and I was at a premiere for The Female Brain, and the actress who plays Meredith Palmer was there, and I was freaking out. She's amazing. She's so funny, and she's on The Office, and that was a huge thing for me. So I had gone up to her and I was like, "Can I have a picture with you?" And so I got these pictures, and you can see my face on them, and I'm just smiling so much. But that was the only time I've been starstruck, which I think is really funny. It's like the randomest people, but it's true starstruck.
we do want to go back a little bit and talk about Girl Flu, which hits streaming services this January. So in the movie, you star as a girl named Robin, also called Bird, who comes of age right before our eyes. And you get to have the talk. And so with you get to have the talk with a parent is often embarrassing and like hard to do. But how was it for you filming this movie, having to go through those embarrassing times and that subject matter?
It is really interesting. I think a lot of people assume that on set it was super weird and awkward and embarrassing and stuff like that because just the subject matter it's a subject matter that is not portrayed on film, and when it is, it's like Carrie, a girl gets her period and kills the whole school. Like it's, you know what I mean? It's a very unreal circumstance. But when I read the script, the thing that I loved about it was how real it was. You know, it was funny because it's awkward and it's so real, and it made me laugh because it was like, oh my God, I've been there, I've done that, you know? So when we were filming it, Dory, who was the writer and director, Dory Barton, she had created this space that was very free to just express yourself and do whatever you want. And so it was very like cuddly and mushy. So when we were doing these things, I never felt embarrassed, but you know, it's definitely, it's a kind of bold move to do something like this, I think, or to make a movie about this because it makes so many people uncomfortable, which it shouldn't be. It's just a part of life. And, you know, literally every girl goes through it. And what I loved about making that film is that, you know, hopefully young girls will watch it and be like, wow, I experienced that, or I had something similar to that, and I feel less alone, because everything about Girl Flu was taken from someone's story somewhere. Like there's a truth about that. Like every aspect of it was taken from a true story in some way.
You want to continue?
Oh, did you want me to do that?
Oh, you know, probably.
Yeah. See how he can't even ask you the next question? So Bird experiences what every girl dreads, which is having your period during school.
Yes.
And so filming the scene in front of kids your own age, boys and girls. Mm-hmm. So was everyone prepared for what was going to be coming? Obviously, we were all on the same page of filming on this today. But did the director prep the extras and the principals for what was happening, or were you the only one that knew what was going to happen that day?
Well, definitely the other actors knew, like, you know, Diego and Bella, both of them knew because they had read the script, and so we had talks with Dory about the scene, so we knew what was happening, and I'm pretty sure someone had told the extras as well that were standing around. But we were shooting at a park in Los Angeles. We were shooting in Echo Park. And I was wearing white jeans with, you know, blood on them. And I would be walking around going to Crafty or whatever. I'd be sitting with, like, you know, cross-legged, because I just stopped thinking about it. Like, I didn't think that I had blood on my pants. And people would walk by, like, who weren't part of the film or the project, and be like, that girl, does she know she's, like... Yeah, so I had people looking at me like either they felt sorry for me, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, like this is so embarrassing for you, or people who are just totally freaked out and grossed out by me. But the people working, hopefully they knew what was happening, so...
Well, and Nick is the father of twin girls, so you better, you know, hold on tight as the stay-at-home parent. You are going to go through some of these experiences.
Watch the film, and it'll, you know, it's definitely very informative for guys.
Well, and my husband is in the medical profession, and he won't even talk about it with our daughter. Like, he just avoids that like the plague.
And she's at the right age to start.
Well, she's a little bit young, but but I was just like... At some point, you're going to have to talk to her about this. He goes, oh, no, I'm not.
That's funny. Yeah, it's just it's just a part of life.
Yeah, it happens. I don't know why people get so upset about it. Otherwise, we don't get to continue our species. That's how this game is played, people.
It's an important thing, man.
Yeah.
All right, can we end with some fun questions now?
Yes.
That was very uncomfortable for me. I was going to leave the room during those questions, but I figured since you're on video, that would be weird.
She put you on video. You had to stay.
Okay, so Elizabeth and I cannot figure this out. you're going to turn 18 soon and you want to skydive. Are you crazy?
What the heck are you thinking, child?
Maybe I am crazy, but my first adult decision will be to jump out of a plane. I've just decided. I wanted to skydive for so long. I'm such an adventure junkie, and I love the feeling of flight. I love flying. So that's amazing. And I know so many, like I have a lot of friends of mine who have, and I mean, it's just like the epitome of adventure, and oh gosh, I have to. So I've gotten a bunch of friends to go. My grandma even said that she would do it with me. I said it as a joke. And she's like, yeah, I'll do it. I was like,
can we ask how old is grandma? Is she like, are we talking like 60s or 80s or where are we at?
60s.
She's probably in her 60s, yeah.
I think she's 60s.
Okay. I can't picture.
She's like, heck yeah, I'll do it. I was like, what, grandma?
Wow.
But, I'm so excited to skydive.
Take a GoPro with you so we can see grandma's reaction.
Yes, we would like to see this.
You guys are all invited.
Awesome. So where exactly did this where did this bucket list come from? Like what's the overwhelming need to skydive?
I don't think there's a particular moment, but I've just always been infatuated with the idea of flight, and I would go to Six Flags all the time. I still go to Six Flags, like when I'm not working during the summertime. You will see me at Six Flags without a doubt. There's a lot of different things there that feel like flying. I was like, I love this. And then they have one thing called Dive Devil, I think is what it's called, which is like this bungee jumping sort of thing where they like put you in this harness with two other people, and they pull you up, and you're like higher than all of the roller coasters, and then they drop you, and you just start flying. And I did that with Ricardo and Jahim, and it was amazing. I was like, I got it. I have to skydive. Like, I love this feeling. And so I think it kind of stemmed from those experiences, I think. So.
And your mom and dad are on board?
My mom is, my dad isn't, but he doesn't really have a choice. So.
Well, she's already doing something scary. She's driving in Los Angeles traffic.
Oh, yay.
Oh, boy.
You got your license late last year, so now that you've had some practice, what's that like for you?
It's terrifying. In certain parts of LA, like downtown freaks me out because there's so many one-way streets and weird people drive like idiots. They do in LA. They're madmen. But I really enjoy it too. There's just a total sense of freedom in being able to go anywhere and being able to drive yourself. So I really enjoy it. Although I do tend to avoid downtown because the parking situation in downtown and the people in downtown, it's crazy over there. But I really do enjoy driving myself pretty much everywhere.
Awesome. Our Skype thing is pooping out here. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully we can get through these last few questions. So I just want to talk real briefly because math and science is something that, girls have shied away from, thinking that, they're not good enough to do it or whatever. But I have to tell you, my wife is an astrophysicist. My twin daughters have a really good role model at home who's going to encourage them to take on math and science and really run with it because thank goodness, because I could not help them at all. But what do you think girls without the strong role models that I just described can do to make math a priority in their life?
That's such a great question. I think it's so important for girls to be interested in math and science and to know that they can do it because you're right when you said that a lot of girls feel like they're not good enough to do better, that they can't do it in some kind of way, or it's not popular, it's not a popular thing to be into math, or science. And I think that we need to break that stigma. I think it's really, really beautiful and amazing to see a girl or anyone be really, really educated and to be able to be great at math and science and everything. And, when you don't have a role model, it is difficult. But I think as hard as it is, I think you have to be your own role model in a sense. Like you have to have your own confidence and belief and strength and kind of knowledge that you will be able to do this and that you are not stupid and you are not dumb and you can do this if it's something that you want to do. So kind of be your own role model in that way and just kind of trust yourself, believe in yourself, and give yourself a break every once in a while. Like, everyone's hard on themselves, but you can do it, and it's super important. It's so important for girls to be able to be good at math and science and all of that. So we need more astrophysicists and all of that.
You and I share a talent that apparently that you showed on the Hallmark Home and Family show. That you can do your alphabet backwards, and Nick would like to hear it.
You can do that too?
I can, yes.
That's amazing. Yeah. I haven't met anyone who could do it. That's so great.
Yes.
I think you both should do it.
No, I think I want to hear her do it because I can.
Can you do it after her then? If she does it, you'll do it?
I can do it if you want me to, but I've never actually heard someone else do it.
Well, she just never heard anybody else do it either.
So
I know, we should do it at the same time.
All right.
No, let's do one at a time.
Nick wants to hear you do it.
Let's see.
Okay.
It'll be a wrap off.
Oh no, I'm nervous. I've got someone who knows what I'm doing now. Okay. ZYXWVUTSRQPONMLKJIHGFEDCBABCs.
Yay! Well, you do it. You are even better than I am because I don't actually sing it backwards.
What?
No, well, because
I was able to do it.
Yeah, no, I can visually see the letters, and then I just read them off backwards. So I
can testify that she does not have an alphabet in front of her.
No, and so I don't necessarily believe that we need to hear me.
No, we do. She does. She's never met anybody that can do it.
ZYXWVUTSRQPONMLKJIHGFEDCBA.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Were you singing the song in your head when she was? No. Jade, were you singing it in your head when she was doing it?
I'm very musically oriented, so I have to have some kind of swing or rhythm, ZYX da 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 da.
Yeah. There's some clueless trivia that you've all got now for the rest of the day.
I know.
Something I learned.
Really useful data.
Right. I think somebody once said to me that they got pulled over, and this is not good for you. They got pulled over by a police officer, and the police officer said, you need to do your alphabet backwards. And they're like, are you kidding? I can't even do it forwards.
Oh, my God.
Possibly you may be intoxicated.
That's so funny.
All right, Jade, you're also a little bit of a pun master.
Ooh, yeah.
Can you drop us a few good puns before we go?
Of course I can.
Ooh.
I'm so glad you asked.
I'm excited.
Okay, let's see. What did Barack Obama say to Michelle when he proposed? I don't want to be Obama self. Good old pun there.
All right.
What's Forrest Gump's password? 1 Forrest 1.
Nice.
Yeah. What happened to the Italian chef? He pasta away.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
One of my faves right there.
Oh, yeah. My kids would be laughing all day on that one.
Now you got jokes to take home.
I do have one for the kids. Yeah, they're going to love the pasta one.
All right. Before we find out where we can follow you, a serious question to end with. Tell us who inspires you.
That is a great question. I'm inspired by so many people, but I think right now, teenagers inspire me so much, especially right now. I think that, I said this earlier, but I think we really are the most connected generation, even though we have the label of being so disconnected because we're always on our phones and stuff. But I think we actually are so connected to one another, and I think we're so aware and informed on what's happening, and I'm so inspired by the amount of teenagers that are passionate and speaking up for what they believe in, even if it's not a popular viewpoint or idea or opinion. And I'm so inspired by the amount of teenagers that are doing what they're doing. It's so beautiful, and it really makes my heart grow a couple sizes. So they absolutely inspire me, and I hope to tell stories about these amazing teenagers through my art and through film. So they definitely inspire me. And then my parents also inspire me. My mom is a total badass.
That's awesome.
As a mom, we love to hear that. So where can we find you on social media?
All right. Well, on Instagram, I'm Jade Pettyjohn _official. On Twitter, I'm at Jade Pettyjohn. Snapchat is also just Jade Pettyjohn. And Facebook, I believe, is also Jade Pettyjohn. So, yeah.
Awesome. Anything else you want to say to your fans or any closing thoughts you have?
Closing thoughts. Just keep on keeping on. Stay true to yourself. I love you.
That was very surprising that you can do the alphabet backwards. You never told me you have such talent.
Well, I guess it's one of those things I don't think of very often.
What else can you do that I don't know about?
Oh, I don't know. I have many talents. That's for our listeners to experience.
I guess it'll come up as guests have these hidden talents.
That's right.
Jade Pettyjohn, thanks so much for joining us this week on Fan Counters. It was a blast.
It was.
Now, guys, we launched our Twitter account, and it looks pretty pathetic compared to our Facebook page. So if you can go to Twitter and follow Fancounters Live, you can also follow our Instagram at Fancounters Live. And if you haven't joined us at Facebook, you still could do that by searching Fancounters on Facebook. Now, big news this week. We have been working for 6 months to get on iHeartRadio.
Yes.
And now we've been added officially.
We have joined the iHeartRadio family.
Yes. So, in fact, the listenership has already picked up on that platform, which is going to be huge to expand the show and all that. So thanks to iHeartRadio for finally approving us. We had to prove that we were worthy.
Yes.
Of doing a great show every week. So thanks for that. You can communicate with us by sending an email to hello@fancounters.com.
We'll see you next week.